In this WrestleTalk news, WWE released one of their current NXT champions, some of NXT's top names getting called up, and I'll be reviewing AEW Dynamite. Subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
NXT Stand and Deliver saw a changing of the guard for the unicorn vomit color brand, with Cameron Grimes, MSK, and Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez becoming champions. In the week since, Bron Breakker has won the NXT Championship again, Dakota and Raquel lost their belts, and now news has come down that one half of the current tag team champions has been let go. Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp reported yesterday afternoon that Nash Carter, one half of MSK, has been released by WWE after several allegations of domestic abuse from his wife, Impact Wrestling star Kimber Lee. Over the last week, Lee has alleged that Carter physically and emotionally abused her, holds anti-LGBTQ views, and posted a photo of what looks like Carter doing a Nazi salute while sporting a toothbrush mustache. Lee originally made allegations back in March before taking them down, saying that the couple were working on their issues. But when reposting the allegations this month, she said things were over between them. Carter is yet to publicly comment on the allegations, and WWE have not publicly addressed the release. Back to the inconsequential by comparison kayfabe pro wrestling side of things, this does mean that NXT will have to find a new home for the tag straps, and means they're in an interesting position, essentially having hot-shotted 3 different titles around since Stand and Deliver. Add to that the fact that some major call-ups could be in the works, and NXT 2.0 is struggling to stay the course storyline-wise. Fightful Select reported that a number of names have been discussed for a call-up to Raw or SmackDown, starting with former NXT UK champion Walter, no, I will not call him Gunther, and Imperium crony Marcel Bartel. Apparently there has been no discussion of stablemate Fabian, who was walked out on by Bartel on this week's show. This might be why Gunther, damn it, they've got me, put over Breakker clean on this week's episode. A second report revealed that former NXT Women's Champion Raquel Gonzalez was part of the discussions and is heavily expected to be called up by sources within the company, with reports of her main roster debut going back to January. LA Knight has also been in the conversation, though his main roster future seems uncertain according to the sources, and may be slotted into a managerial role if he is moved to Raw or SmackDown. That, or he's already been called up and is the one playing Elias's younger brother Ezekiel. Before we hop into reviewing Dynamite, just a quick word on legit Layla Hirsch, who had to be carried from the ring during a match taping for AEW Dark Elevation after suffering what appeared to be a knee injury. Hirsch was set to take on Christina Marie, but less than a minute into the bout, Hirsch was unable to get up after landing awkwardly following a backflip from the second rope. The match ended up having to be stopped as medical personnel helped Hirsch to the back, wishing her a speedy recovery. Now it's Thursday, you know what that means. My review of WrestleMania Dynamite in about 5 minutes. Apparently wanting to beat WWE at their own game, the announcers put over that this episode of Dynamite had a premium live event level card, including our opening first time ever match, Christian versus Adam Cole. Baby. These two have been feuding on and off since Cole's AEW debut back in September as part of the Undisputed Era versus Jurassic Express rivalry. This was a very well worked, strategic, steadily building match, which had the crowd standing on their feet in appreciation by the end. Cole beat Christian with the boom in 15 minutes. Red Dragon jumped Christian afterwards because heels, and Jurassic Express made the save. This left Hangman Page to get all up in Cole's face, like, I'm pretty sure they're going to make a bay close, where he challenged Cole to a Texas death match at next week's live episode of Rampage in his hometown, and told him to get your affairs in order, teasing an actual murder. With both men's track records of high-stakes hardcore matches, this is must-see, which is a smart play as Rampage has felt skippable in recent months and has consequently sunk to its lowest ratings. Interestingly, Christian later stormed off from Jurassic Express in frustration, potentially finally moving towards that heel split. But Hangman Page isn't the only wrestler who wants to kill his opponent, because Samoa Joe is here now and he's going to kill everybody. We actually got a recap of something that happened before this episode of Dynamite, with AEW playing footage of Joe's return at ROH's Supercard of Honor last Friday. I get that video recaps are overdone by by another company, but AEW should use them way more for context purposes like this. Max Caster had a strange tactic going in. Bait the very angry bear. With the incredible finishing line in his entrance rap, "Hey Tony, why did we give this guy a chance? When we beat them in the ratings, this guy was their champ." It rhymed better when he did it. I'm glad Caster got that shot in, because he sure didn't get much in the actual match. Joe absolutely murderized him. No selling chops, pulverizing Caster's chest. He even did a tope outside. He didn't get a lot of air on that tope, but I believe it was still technically a dive. He flew for at least half a second. This felt far more like explosive monster TNA Joe than the longer drawn-out psychological Joe we got in NXT. He even hit the WWE banned Muscle Buster to win, making him the first qualifier for the men's Owen Hart tournament. I much prefer wrestling debuts when they immediately have a lot of things going on, and Joe didn't just have that tournament. Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt appeared on the Tron afterwards, continuing their feud from ROH, promising they have a present for him next week. William Regal was very excited for Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson to be on Rampage this Friday, in the kind of way that suggests AEW really wants to get the show's viewing figures back up. And later, their best friends' opponents continued their fallout with Wheeler Yuta backstage. Shawn Spears took on Shawn Dean next in Shawn War, with MJF on commentary, which was another opportunity to have Wardlow take out security backstage and try to get at Max through the crowd. Crucially though, this week it led to a Pinnacle loss, with Dean pinning Spears in the distraction. This program is really helping get Wardlow over even more, and Max vowed to beat Shawn Dean next week. Visit WrestleShop.com every day for the most stupendous in wrestling merchandise. WrestleShop.com, wrestling merch for grown-ups. After we got footage of Eddie Kingston, Santana and Ortiz beating up the Jericho Appreciation Society backstage earlier in the day, where Kingston even threw a monitor at them, who throws a monitor? Honestly, LAX challenged them to a 6-man next week, but they'll fight them if they agree or not, including even if their wife and children are there. Yeah, baby faces beating up dads in front of their families. Jade Cargill continued to be an absolute star, hyping her impending 30th straight win against Marina Shafir, saying she's sick of all these MMA failures trying to make it in her world. Then we got the only dud thing on this episode. And yes, it was again to do with the Hardys AFO cluster again. The Hardys took on the Butcher and the Blade in a tables match, where it was explicitly put over that you have to be put through a table with an offensive maneuver for you to be eliminated, which means people can go through tables all the time if they just throw themselves through them. Okay, sure, whatever, too many table spots will lessen the impact of the final winning table spot, but sure, you've laid out the rules. Unfortunately, this match then failed to tell either a compelling or coherent story within them. Jeff was eliminated first, but then continued to interfere because no DQ. Then Butcher was eliminated, but also continued to wrestle because no DQ. Then the final spot was the eliminated man, Jeff, hitting an admittedly spectacular top-of-a-ladder swanton through 2 tables on the Blade to win the match. So the eliminated man eliminated the legal man to win. How could his move count? What was the point of the eliminations? What was the point of the tables? This was so bad, JR even called it bowling shoe ugly, a line he tends to use when he actually doesn't like something. The AFO came out after, but Sting took them out with a bat. My favourite, Hikaru Shida, then made her Dynamite return, beating Julia Hart to qualify for the Owen Hart Cup. I'm glad Shida won, but beating Hart was an odd choice here, considering she fully debuted her proper heel character finally. Serena Deeb then went on to attack Shida afterwards, but Shida had her scouted. That's my gal. Team Taz then jumped Swerve in the locker room, so Keith Lee jumped Team Taz through the locker room. And the main event was the eagerly anticipated FTR vs Young Bucks 2, a rematch 18 months in the making, and now for both the AAA and ROH tag team titles. I've got to get used to FTR smiling. Dax being happy doesn't make visual sense to me. The only thing I really would have changed about this would be adding a recap of the FTR vs Briscoes match and the Bucks angle that followed from Friday's ROH show. But other than that, this was pro wrestling perfection. From tag team chess at the start, to a hockey fight, to the hope spot builds, hot tag, and epic final sequences, this was one of the best matches in Dynamite history, and is noteworthy for fully solidifying FTR as an excellent babyface team. The final third had so many great near falls I totally bought. Matt kicking Cash in the balls, Nick hitting Cash with the title, Cash getting a foot on the ropes off the BTE trigger. Man, as I'm reading this back, Cash was such a great babyface in peril. Where did he learn to do that? He's been a heel his whole career. We even got FTR's new favourite spot, kicking out of their own finisher. The match and myself climaxed with Dax catching Nick's Meltzer driver into a powerbomb, FTR hitting a BTE trigger on Matt, doing that Adam Cole kiss spot on him, and winning with a big rig. What did you think of Dynamite? Let me know in the comments. Call me old-fashioned, but I prefer it when wrestling shows main event with their actual main event. It's all about how you leave them, folks, and FTR vs Bucks was made more impactful by it closing the show. Elsewhere on the card had Joe's debut and the Cole vs Christian opener. This was a very good episode at 91%. Speaking of very good things, if you didn't watch our WrestleMania live reactions, Adam Blampied unified the real and interim Jam That Championships, winning it for the first time the same night Roman Reigns unified the belts in WWE. None of us in the office have really seen him since though. He's just been sending us voice notes like this. Guess he keeps reading really funny jokes. And apparently he's going to do his first Jam That Champions promo in tomorrow's news. So subscribe, and in the meantime, watch Seth Rollins effectively shoot on AEW. Seth Rollins shoots on AEW, Cody Rhodes' backstage success in WWE, Alexa Bliss still isn't being used, and more. And just in case you thought that was said in the heat of the moment, Seth has heavily doubled down on that in his interview with Gorilla Position.